And any successful campaign that you personally did not like?
So there was a campaign by Tanishq. It was saying that Kanyadan is a backward practice that needs to be stopped.
But don't you think it is a little backward to say that I'm giving my daughter to you as if it's a property to give over to somebody else?
No, I don't agree on that. Something that we have been following for a
Just because we have been following something for too long doesn't mean it's right.
I agree. Not just because of that. It is something that is so deep rooted in our culture.
Anything that is deep rooted or following is right?
No, that's not the case.
So then?
It does not signify giving away your daughter like
It literally means that, no? Dan.
Hi, Himanshi.
Hello.
Can you tell us something about yourself?
Yes, so I'm Himanshi Fatehpuria. I'm currently in my third year of undergraduate and I'm pursuing my bachelor's in management studies from 𝐴𝐴 College. As for my professional front, I have been interested in marketing and I've done 2 internships at different firms for my marketing. As for my positions of responsibility or leadership front, I've been involved in the placement cell at my college and have facilitated placements for the graduating batches. I have also been the head of department at various fests. Speaking about my personal hobbies or my personal interests, I have always been interested in working with NGOs and social work. My hobbies also include baking as well as listening to music.
Okay. What kind of music do you like to listen to?
I like slow, soft music, mainly Bollywood music, but in the romance genre.
Okay. So recently, Arijit Singh mentioned that he's going to retire from playback singing.
Yeah.
What's your view on it?
Although he might be retiring from playback singing, that is, he's retiring from singing for Bollywood films, but I do believe that in the near future he will continue to make his own music, which might not be for Bollywood films, but he'll continue to make music, so that's a win.
But why would somebody at the peak of their career, let's say, would quit playback singing for movies?
Uh, One person might quit at the peak of his career to take a break, or if they feel like their work is not being valued that much. So I think that's why Arijit would have taken this break. Like Zakir Khan as well, he also took a break at the peak of his career at 38 years. When he was at the peak of comedy, he took a 5-year break. So people do that if they feel that their work is not being valued, or they feel like they need to reevaluate things for themselves.
You mentioned you've done 2 internships in marketing. So can you tell us a little bit more about this?
So my first internship was with Trabokarma. My responsibilities included coordinating with vendors and also suggesting ideas for the apps marketing on social media pages like across LinkedIn and Instagram. My second internship was with 𝐷𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐼NE Foundation, which is an NGO. I helped create content on Instagram as well as LinkedIn for them. I also trained junior interns in 𝐷𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐼NE Foundation.
Okay. Any particular reason why you chose these companies and the businesses or the space in which they operate?
For Trabokarma, there was no particular reason. It was just an interesting profile that came across my way. And it was in my first year of college, so I was trying out new things. I wanted to explore the marketing domain. For 𝐷𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐼NE Foundation, I chose an NGO because, as I said, I've been interested in working with NGOs and social work. So working for them made me feel good and made me give like a purpose to myself. So that's why.
Okay. So if let's say after MBA, right?
Yes.
You want to continue to work in, let's say, marketing, or you want to pursue your passion and work towards, say, social welfare and things like that?
No, my passion would be marketing itself. I would use my marketing
But you
knowledge.
mentioned, right, working for an NGO makes you feel good, so you can continue there as well.
Yes, I can continue there as well, but I would like to work in corporate and do the NGO part as a side hobby or as a side passion, maybe on the weekends or whenever I find free time.
Okay. Is this decision driven by money?
No, this decision is not primarily driven by money, although that is a factor. But in the future, I aim to possibly open my own venture because I stem from a business family. I have seen my father and my uncles and my grandfather, have their own ventures. So I think I would be more inclined towards that over an NGO work, but I would still want to do that on the side.
So you have a family business as well.
Yes.
What's the business in?
My father works in textiles, so they own mills and a factory that produces cloth.
Oh, so you're not interested in this business?
No, I am not interested in the textile business because the nature of work is pretty intensive. It's on the manufacturing end, so it usually involves coordinating with workers a lot and keeping track of the machines. So that's not the kind of work that I'm interested in.
But you can be somebody who is running the business. That function can be outsourced to somebody. So worker coordination, that job, task can be outsourced, can be given to somebody.
But the soul of the business that my father owns is worker coordination. There are no other huge aspects involved to it. The main part is overlooking the machines and coordinating with workers. So if I had to step into the business, I would not be able to not do that. So that's why I won't be joining the business.
Okay. So what kind of career you are looking for yourself?
I am looking at a marketing core career. So I'm also interested in sales and marketing along with brand management. So I would first want to step in sales and marketing and then move ahead to core marketing like brand management.
Any particular brand or service or product that you really like?
Okay, so if I had to say about a service that I really like, the one would be Snabbit because it's a pretty new service and it's a new idea. It's something innovative that was never done before, and it was a huge hit in the Indian market. It is satisfying a need that was there for a long period of time. There was a gap in the market, so Snabbit is fulfilling that, and I feel their marketing is also pretty good. That's why I would say a service that I really like is Snabbit.
Okay, all right. If you can suggest some from a marketing perspective, you mentioned that you like how they market.
Yeah.
So, can you come up with a few suggestions for them or anything that you think should be done differently?
For Snabbit? Okay.
Just 2 minutes, please.
Okay, so for Snabbit, their Instagram presence is a little low, I would say. So what they could do, they are appealing to the millennial generation right now, that is our moms and dads. So a large market is them. To appeal to the Gen Z market, what they can do is tap into Instagram and they can make funny content or more like add a touch of humor with their services, like with people that are providing their services. If they make content with them, it will appeal to Gen Z more, and Gen Z will also be a target market for them then.
So why do you think they're not trying to target Gen Z at this point of time?
Because it has just been launched, and right now they have tapped into the millennial market, and it has been a hit. So I think they will be going towards Gen Z, but at a slower pace. Also because Gen Z is not that much about keeping their houses, top notch or that clean. So
No, more importantly, don't you think because Gen Z is not the one who is paying for it at this point of time?
That could be, but a large amount of Gen Zs are also earning. So there a huge chunk of Gen Zs are also above, 23 or 25. So they are also earning. I don't think that's the primary reason that Gen Z is not paying for it right now.
What do you mean by the term brand equity?
I'm sorry, I don't know about that.
Achha. What do you mean by the term brand?
Brand is something that is that holds value, like it's the identity of your company. So that is a brand, what people know the company about, like what people know the company's values or whatever the company's about, its services or its products. That's a brand.
So the value or the ethics of a company is the brand.
Yes, and the products and services it offers.
Okay. So let's say we talk about two brands, two competing brands, let's say Pepsi and Coca-Cola, right? So how would you differentiate the brand if you're saying it's about the products and service and the ethics? They're similar product, right? And I don't know much about what is the background ethics of those two companies. So how for me are those two brands different?
So Pepsi and Coke, as you said, they have different products. Although, like it is in the genre of soft drinks, the composition is different. And I would also say that the strategies that they use to either market their products or their, brand placement or their distribution strategies, everything is different between the two brands. That is why
Can you
they
tell
are.
me the big highlight in terms of difference between their communication or strategy?
Yeah. I would say that Pepsi, you can find Pepsi in a lot of rural areas or small shops as well. But Coke, like Coca-Cola, you don't find cans of Coca-Cola in small shops as well. So that is where their distribution strategy would be a little different. And Coke also has a very aggressive advertise-based marketing strategy, which Pepsi does not follow. So that's where they are different.
Are you sure this is the case? You mentioned in rural areas you don't see shops where Coke is present.
You
Pepsi
do
you will find.
no, you do see Coke, but it's lesser in the rural areas. Like you'll find Pepsi bottles more there in small shops.
Is there any data based on which you are making this statement?
Not currently that I know of. This is based on my personal observation.
Okay.
How is baking different from normal cooking?
So baking is different from normal cooking because one, it involves a lot of precision, I would say, because you need to measure your ingredients very carefully. Even a small difference in ingredients can cause something entirely different to be made. And I would say it requires more patience as well than normal cooking.
There are foods that are cooked overnight, right? A biryani takes around 3 to 4 hours to cook. So to say precision or patience is more in baking, that isn't correct, no, necessarily.
No, I don't mean to say that normal cooking does not involve precision, but in my opinion, baking, you need to have that kind of love for it, or that kind of patience, or the ability to wait for a good thing to come out. So that's why I think,
Professional chefs and don't love what they're doing.
no, that's not what I mean.
You mentioned statistical and technical analysis is something that you are good at.
Yeah.
So can you tell me any statistical problem that you have solved or any problem, database problem that you have solved using statistical concepts?
So for my research paper, I had used statistical analysis to analyze the data that I had collected, the primary data.
Can you tell me a little bit more?
So it was mainly analyzing the Google form data, that is how many people. My research paper topic was that the impact of digital payments on youngsters in the Mumbai metropolitan region. So I had used statistical measures to analyze uh, how many people are affected by digital payments, or how many people prefer digital payments.
What all statistical
Yeah,
techniques did you use?
exactly.
I used basics like mean, median, mode, and the rest I don't have that at the top of my head right now.
When mean median mode is so simple that it's not even considered a statistic. Technically, I would say. When you say statistical analysis is what I've
Yeah.
done. This is just descriptive statistics, right? Mean, median, mode. So, what was the finding of this?
The finding of my research paper said that the youngsters in MMR have greatly benefited from digital payments, and they prefer digital payments over cash transactions.
This anybody can make this statement
Yeah,
without even
yeah.
research.
No, my research included questions that were specific to a lot of things. I don't have that at the top of my head right now. That's why.
So what was the sample size of this research
It was around 80 responses.
from your college?
Yes, from my college peers,
I
and
think
also
that's not a very good representative set, right? I mean, you're looking at a very rather homogeneous set of respondents.
I agree. It included my college friends as well as my other friends from my society or my building. But
But when you
it was
say youngsters prefer, right, shouldn't be it a much wider set? Like you should actually then go to smaller towns or do find ways to access people who are not, because the moment you have a survey among your people who are either your people from your society or people from your college, you're looking at people who are largely like you, correct?
Yeah.
In many ways. So then how then you're almost imposing your preferences on them, right? So then how are you looking at people who are not like you?
Okay. So since this was a college-based study, I had access to limited resources. So while I agree that going
Did
to
you do secondary research?
yes, secondary research was
From where?
involved, but very little.
Why do you want to do an MBA?
I want to do an MBA because, firstly, as I mentioned, that I stem from a business family and that business orientation has been there since childhood. I've seen my parents, be involved in business, and that has inspired me. Also, I believe that an MBA will help me bridge the gap between my current knowledge and the knowledge I require to be an efficient marketer in the future.
What kind of business do you want to start?
Something that would involve like a PR kind of agency or
PR agency.
yeah, something kind of that involves core marketing. So working for other brands, maybe.
So why not work in-house for a brand and then do it, or work for a top agency and be one of their heads? Why do you want to start your own PR agency?
That's the plan. Like after an MBA, I plan to get a job and grow through the ranks and understand how it actually works.
Do you have any company in mind where you would want to work?
I would love to work for Nykaa.
Sorry, so you want to work in-house for a brand?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Your academics are very good. You have 10 CGPA.
Yes.
Why are you studying so much?
Uh, I believe that my majors are pretty interesting, so it motivates me to study more. Like I don't think studying throughout my college has been some kind of chore that I have to do. It has always been interesting and intriguing, something that I
What are your
want to do.
majors?
So I have a dual major. I have a major in marketing and a minor in finance.
Any particular campaign that you have come across recently on social media or done by any brand that you felt was not up to the mark?
So not recent, but there was a ad by Pepsi involving Kendall Jenner, wherein she was on the streets and there was a protest going on, and then she just handed a bottle of Pepsi to one of the protesters and the entire mood of the situation changed. They went from protesting to being together and hanging out. So that involved a lot of backlash, and I felt that it didn't really make a lot of sense, that one bottle of Pepsi is changing an entire protest's mood. It also was criticized online. So I think that was one campaign.
Why do you think it was criticized?
Because it undermined the essentials of a protest. It undermined that why a protest was being done in the first place. It said that a bottle of Pepsi can change the cause for which the protest was being done. So that's why it was.
And any successful campaign that you personally did not like?
So there was a campaign by Tanishq. It was with Alia Bhatt, and it was about the Kanyadan ad. Like it was based on something like they're trying to change traditional norms. It was successful to some extent. It garnered a lot of attention, but it did not appeal to me as much.
Okay, why?
because I do believe that traditional views should not be changed completely. Modern adaptations are fine, but changing them or hurting the beliefs, a brand needs to be culturally sensitive so that they can appeal to the masses. That's why I felt that it was not appropriate.
That's okay. I don't remember the ad so much. So why do you think it was hurting people's sentiments?
Because it was targeting Kanyadan, and Kanyadan is a practice that has
No, which is fine, but how? How was it targeting? In the sense, how was it trying to change the traditional beliefs?
It was on the basis of something. I don't remember the exact lines of the ad as well.
No, that's okay. But then what theme of it you did not like?
The theme that it was saying that Kanyadan is not, it should not be followed in modern times. It was suggesting towards that.
So you're also not very clear why you don't like it.
No, I'm clear why I don't like it. I don't like it because it was challenging traditional beliefs.
So what is it saying Kanyadan is a bad practice?
Yes, it was not saying it directly, but it was suggesting that Kanyadan is a backward practice that needs to be stopped.
But don't you think it is a little backward to say that I'm giving my daughter to you as if it's a property to give over to somebody else?
No, I don't agree on that. It's something that we have been following for a,
No, just because we have been following something for too long doesn't mean it's right.
I agree. Not just because of that, but it is something that is so deep rooted in our culture.
Again,
and
same thing. Following deep rooted, anything that is deep rooted or following is right.
No, that's not the case.
So then,
I would say that it does not signify giving away your daughter like a
literally means
object.
that, no? Dan.
I don't know actually.
Achha, okay.
You are joint secretary of the placement cell.
Yes.
Don't you think doing placements for the batch is a thankless job?
No, it's not a completely thankless job because I have had people coming up to me and saying, being grateful for the companies that we bought on
So
campus.
what percentage of the batch have you been able to place?
In an undergraduate college like ours, the population is a lot. It's above 800, but only 400 people actually sit for placements. Like, they do not sit for placements, but they're registered with us for placements. And applications for the companies are even lower than that because a lot of people decide to pursue an MBA or, go for another professional certificate. So we have been able to place around 100 students till now.
Out of how many who sat for the placement?
Out of 400.
You said 400 will not sit because they'll going.
Out of the registered students of 400, and then registrations for the actual companies that come in vary. So I don't remember the actual number that was there this year or last year for that matter, but it 100 students from 400 registered.
So having experienced the placement cell, would you want to be part of placement committee of this B school as well?
Yes, I would love to be a part of that. Because working for this cell has made me realize how much I actually like networking or be it pitching or working in a team. So this is my calling and I would love to do that. That's why.
And that can happen as part of alumni committee also.
I agree. But I would say the satisfaction of, saying that you were involved in the placements and you're responsible, that kind of responsibility that it comes with of placing students and their lives that depend on the job is pretty great. So I would love to be a part of the cell.
What do you consider an area of improvement for yourself?
One area of improvement would be I tend to, once I decide to do something, I over-fixate on it. So if things are not going in a particular way, I don't change my course pretty easily. I tend to believe that once what I had decided first is the right course, and I delay changing or I push, ahead changing the course for better results. So I would say that is a point of, thing that is one thing that I would like to improve.
So you're not worked on that?
I have been working on it. So for instance, I was recently leading the first final placement week at the placement cell, and I had a particular lineup in my mind, and I wanted those companies only for the first final placement week. And one of the companies was not really responding or was delaying the process a lot. But I was initially I was adamant that we need to get that company on board. But I realized that delaying the entire process just because of that one company is not worth it. And then we moved ahead to another company for the lineup.
Okay, done from my side.
Last question. Take any company you like, any, it could be small company, big company, whatever, and do a BCG analysis for that company.
I'm sorry, I'm not able to think of anything
You have
right
done
now.
certificate course by BCG Interview Strategy Consultant.
Yes, but right now I'm not.
Do you know the BCG Matrix?
I know, but I'm not able to recall right now. That's why.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So, Himanshi, how was it?
It was a little exhilarating and a little bit scary, I would say.
Scary. That's not how typically people have described us, but we'll go ahead. See, overall, I think you have a lot of scope to improve, right? You can do much better. Your academic record is excellent,
Yeah.
right? I haven't seen a lot of people with 10 CGPA in graduation, so very good. Internships are also fine. See, the thing is, you have to really understand why you want to do MBA in the first place. Right? You have to think about what the journey is going to be, how you're going to position what you have done in the past, what you want to do in the future, and how MBA fits into that story. Okay. And it can't be a very generic answer.
Okay.
See, most students try and give a very generic answer, but you have to make it personalized, specific to you, right? And a lot of times it happened that you also give very short answers.
Okay.
And I had to probe a little bit, even Souvik had to do that, to gather more information about what you're trying to say. So what you can do is you can slightly add more to whatever you are saying. Okay. Maybe another 2-3 lines, and that will help the interviewer to ask the next question. It will also give more context, correct? Your introduction was fine. Not a problem, much of a problem there. Then you mentioned music. Music was the last thing where you ended. So I asked you a question related to music.
Yes.
We spoke about Arijit Singh, then Zakir Khan came up. Then your internships. See, my problem with the way you explained it, right? I said, you have done 2 internships. Can you tell me a little bit more? You have to assume that I know nothing about these companies. Okay. And now you have to explain. Okay. So you will have to say, okay, fine. My first internship was at Travokarma. I still don't know what Travokarma does.
Okay.
So through our conversation, it didn't come out that, okay, what exactly is the business? So are they a travel company? Are they a booking company? Do they do reviews of places? What exactly do they do? Right? Okay. So even Augustine Foundation, what exactly do they do? So whenever you're explaining an internship or a project, you have to explain, okay, this is what it is. And this is what I was doing. Okay. So just explain that properly, I would say. Then I think your brand awareness is good. So you mentioned about a lot of things. You spoke about Tanishq and Pepsi, whatever. A lot of brands got discussed, but that depth is not there. It's like a very superficial awareness that, okay, for example, I know that the advertisements of Fevicol are great. Okay. But what exactly I like about that, right? Okay. Or why do I like, let's say, Fevicol as a brand? So it could be any other brand. And a lot of statements that you made, right? It's like as if there's a generic conversation that is going on. And it's not leading to anywhere. Pepsi, Coke. And you said in rural areas you find Pepsi more and you Coke. There is no proof of this. Okay. I mean, just because you went to a place and you didn't find Coke there doesn't mean that Coke doesn't exist, right? And in rural areas. So don't generalize it to based on that one sample size that you had. Then we spoke about statistical research. Impact of digital payments on cash, that people prefer digital payments over cash. I think again, it's not a research problem unless you make it to be a problem. Okay. So you have to explain it to me. And mean median mode is not going to cut it. Yeah. So either you don't mention it or you mention it and be fully prepared to answer this question. Okay. So how would you answer this question that as part of my second year or third year, we were evaluating the role of or the impact of digital payments, and are people preferring it more over cash payments. This particular study involved doing research of 80 people. Again, 80 is not great as a number. Plus, these are college students from your college, your friends. That is what is called convenient sampling.
Okay.
Not something to be. So either you completely drop it. If you think I'm not going to be confident explaining this, right? Don't mention it on the application.
Got it.
Okay. Since it is there, we will ask you.
Yeah.
Even BCG Matrix, same thing happened. It's written. So we will ask you. If you don't mention, we don't will. Correct? And he said it's a homogeneous sample, right? All Gen Z people, all of them will prefer digital payment over cash, right? So what is there to research? So just be careful on some of these things. Then we spoke about why MBA. You said business orientation, knowledge gap, then PR agency. Then he countered, saying, why don't you work in a PR agency in that case? Then I asked you about your majors. Again, so I asked you majors, you said marketing, finance, and you stopped.
Okay.
So a lot of times it's not about giving a direct answer and just stopping there.
Yeah.
You can add a little bit more so that you direct the interview. Otherwise, next question is going to be some random. Then I ask you campaign, right? So it's not related to the major question that got asked previously.
So what would you say that I could add in that answer?
You can add some specific subjects, right? Because I asked you your CGPA is 10.
Yeah.
So you said it's not like a whatever work for me. Basically, I really like this. So what do you like? Maybe in marketing you could have gone into specifics.
Okay, got it.
Whatever, behavioral marketing, for example, or whatever it may be, right? So why I said your awareness is fine is because you spoke about a lot of examples like Pepsi ad, Tanishq ad. So you have seen a lot, but now to explain it the way a B school aspirant or let's say a future manager would be explaining that particular thing. Then that entire discussion became unnecessary on Kanyadhan. I mean, completely avoidable.
Yeah.
So either you take like a stand and close it. The moment you realize that it is not going anywhere and the panel is trying to corner you.
Yeah.
So understand that is happening. Okay. Then I said PlaceCom is a thankless job. Then you said no, there is networking, pitching, teamwork. Then I said it is there in alumni committee also. Then you said satisfaction. Just because you worked in PlaceCom doesn't mean you have to work in PlaceCom again. Correct. Maybe one angle could have been to say that because I work in placement committee now, I might want to work in something else.
Okay.
Maybe an alumni committee or a student academic committee and stuff like that. And then BCG thing happened. So I think what you have written, you have to prepare really well for it.
Yes.
Okay. Your feedback?
I think largely on similar lines. One is, in majority of the answers, you were just mentioning the thing without really getting into the explanation. I'll tell you. So when you say when you asked you that, why don't you work in the NGO sector? Why do you want to work for corporate? You say my passion lies in corporate, but why? Right? Then at some point you try to connect your father's business, the family business, to your aspiration for MBA. But I still don't understand that how is that connected, because you don't like that work anyway, right? So how and you also to also say words like it's very intensive worker coordination. That's like, it's like saying, I don't want to do very intensive work where I have to coordinate with a lot of people, right? So not sure that firstly, what is the connection? Because a lot of people who would say that the family business has inspired me would have worked in that family business. I had learned something from it, whereas you seem largely very averse to it, right? So I don't see what is the connection between that and your MBA aspiration, number one. I think the marketing related questions, and because you mentioned branding, those questions did not work, right? Because if you are pitching yourself for a marketing oriented thing, like if I said what is brand equity or the whole Snabbit fulfilling the gap, firstly, again, as you said, don't mention Snabbit. How do you know that person sitting in front of you knows what is Snabbit? If you're going to, maybe if it is somebody from Udaipur, or maybe they don't have Snabbit over there, right? So what is that thing? What is the whole USP? Why are they targeting it? That baking and cooking answer was, again, the issue with a lot of those answers is very generic. So suppose somebody asks you that what is your favorite campaign, right? And you mention Nykaa, right? But you don't say why you liked the Nykaa campaign. What is so likable about it? Or how is it different from a L'Oreal or a Lakme or anything else, right? Even the Pepsi example with Kendall Jenner, the actual example, the actual reason why you thought was a bad idea, you actually mentioned later. The first time you mentioned it, you said, how can a Pepsi dilute the mood of a protest? Right? That is not the explanation. When later on we asked you to explain, then you said, okay, they're undermining the ethics of protest and so on. The placement cell, when you say that whole 100 out of 400, we'll have to kind of make it sound a little better, because right now you're not making it sound like a very impactful, job. In a lot of these cases, what you have to add that if you have done something, what is your learning or what is the impact of the work? Right. So if you say that I worked as the head of various fest, right? You mentioned in your introduction.
Yeah.
What fest? Right? What kind of head were you? I still don't understand, because head of a fest means very big thing, or it could be head of a committee. I'm still don't know what you will do in my head of the fest, right? So in a lot of these questions, you will have to go back and figure out how can you add more information, more insight, rather than just information. Information more or less तुम्हारे पास है, but the insight is something that you are really missing, right? And that is why somebody who has worked in marketing, maybe even for a year, will end up having more impact at an interview stage.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So academically you're good, obviously, but for a B school, it has to move beyond academics, and at least one area should stand out, is the sense that, oh, she really likes this.
Okay.
Right? And this is one area she will really shine. Right now, I was trying to find what is that thing that you really will shine or really like. It seemed like marketing, but I'm not fully convinced that it is marketing.
Okay.
You see a lot of good things on the profile, for sure. And on paper, it's a very solid application. Academics is good, extracurricular is good, position of responsibility
Exactly.
is good. But the way it happened with BCG, right? It appears that a lot of things are written because they sound nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's
Even the statistical
BCG,
analysis,
right?
yeah.
Sounds nice. Statistical sounds nice. But then once somebody gets into the depth of it, then we realize that it's there as a document, but it hasn't gone in, right? So you haven't really done it properly. And we should not be getting that feel.
Yeah. Because 3-4 times you mentioned, I've done it, I don't remember it on the top of my head. When you mentioned 3-4 times, because you are still in college, and these things are relatively very recent stuff. For you to say that I don't remember it on my top of my head, or what was the placement thing, your head of placement, you said I do not really remember the number of placements this year or last year, then how many even, then you're the head of the placement committee, you're saying, and you don't remember that data that you're handling right now. Right? So it does not seem that you are paying enough attention to what you are doing. It's not necessary that one has to do a lot of things, even for a B school. Even if they do 2 to 3 things and they really excel at that, that could be the USP.
Okay.
So build depth in your answers. So go back and every point that you've written on the CV, right? Firstly, decide whether you're going to talk about it or not. And then if you're going to talk about it, okay, what are the 10, 15, 20 questions that I could be asked related to this? And then you work on it. Okay. And see, if you see discussion not going anywhere, try and control the interview a little bit. Okay. So one good thing is that at a lot of places you said, okay, can I take a moment to think about it? But every time asking for 2 minutes is not going to help, right? So sometimes you'll have to give answer immediately. You can also phrase it in different ways. So maybe once you said, okay, fine, can I take 2 minutes? Then maybe you say, can I take a moment to gather my thoughts? Rather than every time saying 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Overall, it's good. I'm not saying not good, but again, there's a lot to improve. So today, if I have to say, how did you perform? I would say you underperformed. Because you have so much to talk about. And you definitely could have done much better than what you did today with the kind of experiences that you have. Okay. So I hope you take it in the right spirit and work on this feedback, and wish you all the best.
All the best, Himanshi.
Thank you.